Hello everybody, this is Isaac Ashby from Steam Thinkers and welcome to today's activity. We are going to be building a windmill that you can test different blade configurations to see which one is able to harness the most power from the wind to lift an object. So let's get started. Okay, what you will need for this activity is some cardboard, not the corrugated kind, but like the cereal box kind that's fairly thin. You don't need the big thick stuff. In fact, the thin stuff is better for the fan blades. You also need at least 4 of these skewers. These ones are bamboo, but get whatever kind you can find, like at the grocery or the craft store. You will need a 1/4 inch diameter dowel that's 6 to 8 inches long. This one might be a little short, but we'll see if we can get it to work. You will also need a 3/8 inch dowel that is about 10 to 12 inches long. You'll need a large paper clip, a string that is about 2 feet long. A pencil will be useful, and a ballpoint pen. Make sure that it's one of these round ones see if you roll it between your fingers, it's round, there's no ridges to it. It'll roll on the table. You will also need a piece of 2x4 that is about 6 inches long and has a 3/8 inch hole drilled about 1.5 inches to 2 inches from the end and right in the middle here. Also, some masking tape, a ruler, some scissors that you can cut the cardboard with, a hole punch, and finally, glue. I'm using hot glue for this because it's more convenient for filming, but any sort of craft glue that will hold wood and cardboard together will work perfectly. Okay, let's get started building. Okay, for the first step, we are going to be working on making the fan blades. So you will need the cardboard, the skewers, glue, scissors, and a hole punch. So first, we need to cut 4 squares. So I'm going to take this, and there's the seam. I'm just going to open this up, and I am going to cut 4 squares that are maybe 3/4 of an inch to an inch on each side. Okay, 4 squares. Now I am going to punch a hole right in the center of each of the 4 squares. Get it as close to the middle as you can, but if it's not perfect, don't sweat it. It's not going to be that big a deal. Okay, so we got these. Now we need to do a little measuring. So this is about the size that I'm going to use for my fan blades. In fact, this is probably going to be one of my fan blades. So I'm going to do some measuring so I can trim my bamboo. Okay, so I'm going to measure it. I'm going to put the stick right to the end of the cardboard blade, and then I'm going to measure it down to about 3 to 4 inches below. I'm going to mark that, and I'm going to cut that just like that. Now I'm going to use this as a template, and I'm going to make sure to cut the pointy sides of the sticks off. You don't need the points, because you want them all to be exactly the same size. Oh, and I just broke my scissors. Silly me. Let me grab my... That's okay, they were cheap kid scissors. Okay, so we are going to continue trimming. There we go. These will work nicely. Okay, and one more trim. There. So you should have 4 of these sticks that are the same, oops, yep, same length. This will be important because you'll want all your blades to weigh the same and stick out the same so that they're balanced. All right, so we are going to take one of these squares and we're going to actually glue two of these together. So I'm going to, this makes them a little more durable. Okay, so line up the holes. The only important part about this is that the holes are lined up. Okay, voila. I'm going to clean out the glue so that it doesn't dry and get in the way. Okay, so now I've got this. Now what I need to do is glue my fan blades on. So I'm going to take the glue gun. Oh, running out of glue, so I got to stick in a new piece. Okay, so I'm going to glue a line here. Take one of the blades, and I'm going to line it up so that the tip, the very end, I don't know if you can see that. It's not, I'm not sure if it's going to focus this close, but you want the end of the stick to line up with the hole. Okay, there. Okay, and I'm going to do the opposite side. It's easiest to work on opposite sides and then go for, and I'll show you in a second. Okay, make sure that this makes a nice straight line across, that they're not tilted. Okay, going down. And also you want to make sure that these are right angles between the blades. And one more. And we'll put the last blade. Make sure once again that you're lining up the sticks to the edge of the hole. Okay, see how that makes a perfect cross? It kind of looks, the camera's making it look a little like it's bowed, like this side is, but that's just the nature of the camera. From my point of view, they're perfect. Okay, next we want to get our other two pieces. I'm going to move this over. We're going to do the same thing where we will glue these two together. Line up the holes. Okay, and now I am going to put glue on the tops of the sticks, just where the cardboard's going to overlap. Now, as I said, I think I said, you can use whatever kind of glue, whether that's craft glue or anything. I'm just using the hot glue just because it's much more convenient. There. Now, when you look at this, this should be fairly sturdy, but sometimes I like to put a little extra glue on the edges here, just to make sure that it's nice and firm and isn't going to come apart. But once again, you want to be careful and make sure that you're not putting a bunch of glue just on one side. Do what you do on all sides so that it's balanced. Okay? Voila! Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to take this board, the 2x4, I'm going to lay it right here and place, kind of balance this so that it's sticking, so it's just kind of balancing on the wood. Okay, now, oh, I forgot, I need to cut out my blades. So I'm going to take this and I am going to use it as a template. Okay, now I've got my 4 blades. All right, now let's glue them on. So I'm going to take and put a line of hot glue right down the center of each blade, like this. And then I'm going to glue them on like this. Now, see that I put it on? Now I'm going to twist the blade a few degrees. Okay, see how I twisted it, and it's not parallel to the plate, to this part of it, but you can see it kind of tilted this way. Now I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to do the same thing. Now it's important as you do this, as you put on these blades, that you tilt it the exact same amount in the same direction. So with the last one, I tilted it towards me just a little bit. So that's what I'm doing on this one. I just put an extra bead there just to keep it, okay? Voila. Okay? So now you can see my fan blade. Now, in different experiments, you can put, see, I've got 4 on here now, but you can experiment with 3 blades where there's 1 and then 1 and then 1, or you can put 8 and put one here, just as long as they're all spaced out evenly so that it's level. You can try out and test how many blades and also how much tilt. Maybe a lot of tilt, you do all the blades a lot of tilt, or all the blades a little tilt. But it's important that you do all of them the same, as I've said 100 times, so that it is balanced. Okay? All right, I'm going to move this to the side. Now we are going to work on the shaft. Okay, so I have my 3/8 inch dowel and a ballpoint pen. So I'm going to take the lid off. Whoops, take the lid off. Now I'm going to take the insides out, and then, where's this? I'm going to take and there we go. I was just put the dowel through to pop out the little cork, the little end piece. So now, if you were to put your dowel inside here, it should spin easily and freely. If it doesn't, take a little sandpaper and sand down the dowel until it spins easily and freely. Okay? Next thing you want to test is how much it sticks out. So what I'm going to do is, if I stick this into the hole like this, see how I've only got like 1 inch or so sticking out the back? That's not really enough, so I need to trim this thing. I'm going to trim it. You can use a knife, or this is probably something you'll need parent supervision or help with. So I'm just using a knife, and I'm going to cut off about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, something like that. But like I said, try to have parent help and or supervision for that part. Okay, there we go. Now I am going to take and glue this pen to the top. So I'm going to put a little, or rather a big clump of glue, and I'm going to go about 2/3 the way up the pen, 2/3 to 3/4, and I'm going to see, and it's a little crooked. While the glue's still hot, I've kind of moved it there. See how it makes a nice right angle? That'll be important. And now I'm going to put a little more glue around here just to make sure it stays. Okay. Now, so you see, it's glued onto the end. But this is not, this could come off fairly easily. I know, because I've done it. So we're going to do something to make sure that it doesn't, oops, still a little wet, so that it doesn't come off. We're going to make a couple supports. So I'll set that to the side while it cools down and grab some of that cardboard that I had. Okay, I am going to cut out a large, let's see, a square. Okay, this square, see, I just cut out another square. This one's about, about 1.5 inches or something like that. square, and then I'm going to cut it from corner to corner diagonal to make 2 triangles. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the triangles right here, and that'll help be a support. Voila! I know it doesn't look much, but those triangles here glued onto there will add a ton of additional strength and support. Okay? So there you go. Now we can test it. Let's put it in here. Okay. Now we want to test, does it spin freely? There we go. There's a little glue got in there. I'll probably go clean that up a little bit later, but for now, just make sure that it spins fairly easily. Okay? So when you hold it up, make sure that the blades don't tilt this way. See, this one's pretty good on the shaft. You just kind of tilt it, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it on the end. Okay, so I'm putting glue right here on the end so that I can get it. Okay, and then I'm going to look at it from my point of view. Here it is from kind of your point of view, and I just kind of tweak it until it's sitting perfectly perpendicular. For the next section, we are going to be building a basket, and this is what the basket looks like. It will be used to hold pennies or whatever you choose to use for weights. Okay, so you can do it several ways. You can cut up a bunch of squares and glue them together, and that works fine as long as the squares are the same size. So I am going to I'm going to take this, and this will be one of the sides. I'm just going to kind of fold it up just like this. Okay, and then I'm just going to kind of cut it. Boom. So my first piece, this will be one of the sides of the bucket, will look like this. All 3 the same. Okay, next we need to put in the sides and what goes over the top. So we need a piece. Okay, good. This is right about you'll want to measure, because you want your strip right here to be as wide across the, as wide as it is this bottom section here. So these need to be bent in the same places. So I kind of lay them up against each other so that the end is at the fold. I put a line like that so that it goes like that. Then I do the same to the other side. I measure, I fold, and then I fold it in the middle. And I am going to punch a hole in it. Okay, there. So we have a house looking thing, just like that. So now we've got these 2, and we just need to glue them together. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use tape. Tape is going to be easier for this. I think that's what I used the first time, actually. Okay. Boom. Fold it up. Like that. Okay, there we go. We have a cute little basket, and now we will take our paper clip, and I'm going to unbend so it's just hooked a little bit, just like this. Okay, and this will hook right in just like that. You can kind of bend it over like that if you want to. And then we can tie the string onto the paper clip. We are getting close. You can see how we're about done. I'm going to put a couple of knots in there. Give it a good tug. And now we've got our bucket. Okay. We are almost ready. Okay. So now we will have this, and this will stick in. Okay, so there we go. This is what it looks like so far. Okay, and we will check to make sure that it spins well. The only thing we need to do is add a bucket. Okay, so let's get going with the bucket. Or let's make the attachment to the bucket. Okay, so I've got this piece. I'm going to make a couple more squares about the same size, just like this. I'm going to try to make them roughly round. They don't need to be perfect. In fact, mine are going to be awful, but there we go. Not the roundest I've ever seen in the world, but it doesn't really matter that much. Okay, then I'm going to come and put a hole right in the middle. Uh-oh, and my circles were too big. Okay, so I got to do a little trimming because they're not in the middle. Man, I am bad at these circles. Okay, there we go. So I got 2 circles with 2 holes, almost like little eyeballs. So now, first we're going to add our first one on, our first little circle, slide it on near the end. Okay, and then I am going to put a little, you don't want to put too much glue here, but you do want it to stick and stay in place, and only put it on the inside. There we go. Then it needs to cool. Meanwhile, I need to build up, because we want kind of a spool. Now you could just put a spool on here, but in interest of time and material, spools are can sometimes be hard to get a hold of. So I'm going to build this up so the dowel is a little thicker. So I'm going to take and make this. See, I just kind of turn it. Oops, it stuck to the table. And I'm turning and turning and see how it's getting thicker? By thicker, I mean we're building it up so that it's fatter here than the dowel. And I just keep on winding until, oops, I'm going to back that up and make that a little straighter. Okay, see how it's nice and fat there? Okay, then we'll get our last circle and we will glue it. Okay, let that cool. Now all we have to do is we'll set our bucket here and we're going to measure our string. You can glue the string or tape it. I'm going to trim it right here with the bucket sitting down. Okay, the string fell, so I am going to take, I'm going to glue it, but you can feel free to use tape if you want. And I am just gluing this string right onto the middle of, and I'm going to use my pencil so I don't burn my fingers. And there we have it. We're going to let that cool for a second. Now that you have a finished windmill, it should look something like this. We can do some testing and see how powerful our blades are, right? So here we go. As you spin the blades, it lifts the bucket, okay? And it will do that by the wind. So the wind will come in and it will start turning it and it will lift it. Now, what you will learn is that different configurations of blades will give you different amounts of power. So how do we test this? So first thing you need to do is test the one with 4, the one that you've made, and then you can make improvements on it. So to test it, get like a box fan or a fan for your room or whatever that has consistent wind. Turn it on, stick this in front of it, right? And then see how many pennies it can lift. So while it's spinning, I will start adding pennies. And you'll see that you'll get to a point where the wind isn't strong enough to lift the bucket. So you'll stick pennies in here, right? Just like this. And eventually it will be too much weight for the windmill to hold with that amount of wind, and it will drop and the bucket will go down and won't lift up again. So you want to find the maximum number of pennies or whatever you're measuring with, okay? And once you figure that out, then you can test. Then you can pull off the 4 here and try 3 blades. Maybe 3 blades is stronger. Or maybe you could try, see how these are fairly thin? What if you made fat blades? Would that make it more powerful? Or what if they were longer? Okay, but you want to use consistent wind, so put it on the same wind fan setting every time and try different configurations of blades until you've figured out if 3 or 4 or maybe different shape. What if they were shaped like a peanut or like an airplane? I don't know, I'm just throwing things out. Just try different ways and different configurations and test them to see what's the maximum number of pennies you can lift. Okay, I hope you like this video and have fun with your windmill. This is a great fun project. So thanks, this is Isaac, and we'll see you next time. Bye.